Welcome back to our channel. Today, along with Shubhan and Onik, I am joined by Ridhiman and Onik Vishwas. And today we will be previewing the match day 2 of the round of 16 of Euros. That is Netherlands versus Czech Republic and Portugal versus Belgium. So let's start. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we will be reviewing the two matches for tonight, Belgium versus Portugal and Netherlands versus Czech Republic. Also, if you haven't watched our previous video, we have put the link in our description. Hope you have liked yesterday night's matches. So now moving on to the first match of tonight, Netherlands versus Czech Republic.
So starting off with Netherlands have topped the group with 3 wins. So the first match was against Ukraine. They won 3-2. One strike was from Weghorst, one was from Dumfries, and other was from Memphis Depay. The second match was an easy win of 2-0 against Austria. And the third match was a 3-0 win against North Macedonia. So talking about the team news and all, Wout Weghorst is to start in place of Malen, who got a chance in the third match. And in the midfield, like Vinny and De Roon and Frankie De Jong is to start. And like the two players to look out for is the right wing back and the left wing back, Denzel Dumfries and Van Aanholt. Also, another player who have impressed me a lot has been Stefan De Vrij in the defense, along with Matthias De Ligt. So moving on to the Czech Republic team, Anik, you may continue.
Okay, so Czech Republic qualified to the knockout round, being third in the group that had England, Scotland, and Croatia. So they started off the tournament against Scotland, in which we saw that wondrous Patrick Schick goal from almost near the half line to the goal, and they won that match 2-0 quite convincingly at the home ground of Scotland, which was a very positive result for them. Then they drew against Croatia 1-1, and then they lost against England 1-0. So they qualified the group being third with 4 points, but still they had the same points as Croatia. They had also the same goal difference as Croatia, but they became third due to the less number of goals scored. So regarding the team news, there are no quite serious injuries in the team. Of course, the player to watch out is Patrick Schick, because he has scored 3 goals, including 1 penalty and a brace against Scotland. Sufel is also a player that has been excelled in the last match. We saw him delivering quite wonderful crosses down that right flank. Jankto also had some brilliant moves in that match against England. Although Netherlands were brilliant in the group stage, having a perfect 9 points out of the total available points, but still I believe that Czech Republic will be bullish about their chances against the wonderful Dutch team. So yeah, that's it from me.
So talking about the Dutch team mainly plays as a 3-5-2, or while attacking, and while defending they tend to get a 5-3-2 type of in that type of formation. Their main target man is Depay if Malen plays, but if Weghorst plays, as he has a good height, which is more than 6 feet, so it helps him as a striker, and the main target man is him in that case. So another main player that is to be looked out for is Frankie De Jong. So that's for me. Any other thing from other?
Okay.
The main player that I feel for Netherlands would be Gini Wijnaldum, who had a good outing the last game. The spaces that he takes, and the runs that he makes inside the penalty box would prove to be quite a handful for the Czech defense, and his presence in the midfield would also be important.
Even if Wout Weghorst plays as a target man, I believe Memphis Depay will have a very significant impact on the game, because he has a very beautiful eye for goal. He makes those auxiliary runs very beautifully, and he's often seen in acres of space when the team counterattacks. So I believe Memphis Depay will keep his beautiful run of scoring goals alive, and will again shine through in this match.
Yeah, it's very tempting to play the Malen instead of Weghorst, because he's one of the most promising talents in Netherlands. But on the other hand, Weghorst give them an aerial presence in the penalty box. He is more of a penalty box striker. He has scored around 15 plus goals in the last 3 years for each season for Wolfsburg. So I guess it would be better for Weghorst to play for Netherlands.
Yeah.
Also, he has like
Malen
much
can
more
be
experience
used
than
as a
that of Malen, because Malen is a young boy, so you don't risk to play a young talent. Though you have a young talent, he is good, but you don't risk to play him in a knockout stage, and such a knockout stage in a competition as Euro. That is the thing.
If the Netherlands need some late game impact, suppose they cannot score for 60 minutes, 65 minutes, I believe then bringing on Malen would provide a very injection of pace and would lead to creation of chances, because he is very fluid in that. So he could be an impact sub if he does not start for this game.
Yes, and I also believe that if we refer to the heat maps of the Czech Republic in the last games that they played against Croatia and England, their left flank, where their defender Boris plays, the left flank always leaves a lot of space. Everything is concentrated to the flank where Sufel plays, and that left flank will be attacked by the Dutch right backs like Denzel Dumfries, and Weghorst will be also up there front. So I believe that the Netherlands will continue attacking from the right flank, and that will cause a lot of problems for the Czech. And also regarding the impact sub, I believe Luke de Jong will of course come after 75 minutes or 70 minutes, and he is always a very dangerous player as a substitute. So yeah.
I was particularly impressed by Ryan Gravenberch in the previous game. What do you think about his chances of starting or coming as a sub and impacting the game?
The main chances of Gravenberch coming in as a sub is more because Frankie de Jong and De Roon are the most important players in the midfield, and they have proved their worth in the first 2 matches, right? So I think the coach won't take a chance of playing, won't take the risk of playing another, though Gravenberch is a good player, but he may come as a sub for me.
Yes, same here. He will retain the squad that played against Austria in the second game. Third game was more like a buffer game. They already had qualified. So
Yes.
yeah, so he used a lot of other players to test.
Yeah. So all in all, I would say that the Netherlands are in a very comfortable position. They have got the chance to rotate around the squad a little bit and see what their options are. And fortunately, most of the players are in touch, are in good nick. So and the team morale is high. So hopefully, we get to see a very good performance from the Netherlands in this match.
Also, Czech Republic would want Thomas Suche to bring his scoring boots on. He has scored around 10 goals in the Premier League as a box-to-box midfielder who doesn't take penalties, which is very unheard of. Right? He is the contemporary of Leon Goretzka in the Premier League. So if he is a scoring outlet, apart from Patrick Schick, it would be better for Czech Republic.
I agree with you.
Thomas starts. Yes, if Thomas starts, then it will
many people had an eye on Thomas Suchek as a potential impact player for Czech Republic, but he hasn't yet been able to shine. But I believe that might change, because Thomas Suchek uses his tremendous height, his build, and he makes very silent runs into the box and can spell trouble for the opposition defense. So it will be good to see something of that sort from him in this match when the team would need it.
And if Czech Republic couldn't get the hold of the midfield, players like Tomáš Holeš, if he gets a start, if they couldn't get the hold of the midfield, it will be very difficult for them to sustain or to go to the next round. And the main key battle we are looking for is Holeš versus Wijnaldum. Who are the players that you think to be looked out for in this match?
For me, Depay is a player, of course, because I believe that after his transfer to Barcelona was confirmed, he looked lot more free mentally, and we saw that right in the last match against the last match. So I believe that Depay is, of course, a player to look out for. Captain Gini Wijnaldum is always a very threat player, and from Czech side, never rule out Schick. He can do whatever in any time.
From the Netherlands, I believe Matthias de Ligt coming into the team will be a good addition to their defense, considering the balls provided by Sufal into the box, which could be headed by Suchek. De Ligt's physical presence could be a handful for the Czech attack. So De Ligt could also be a vital proposition for the Dutch team.
I will also be keeping an eye on both Ryan Gravenberch and Daniel Malen if they come on as substitutes.
So for me, on the Netherlands side, it will be Denzel Dumfries. He has improved a lot in the past 2 years in an attacking sense. He got quite a few chances. He got in quite a few scoring positions. But sadly, he has failed to score. But still, he has given a lot of points for us who have them in the fantasy league teams. And also, there is Frankie de Jong, who would be the anchor for them in the midfield. And on the Czech Republic side, it will be Vladimir Kufal, who most of us have kept in the team of the tournament thus far. And also, we have Patrick Schick.
So for me, it will be from the Czech side will be Darida, the captain. Like he is the main player of the midfield. If he could play good for the team, and if he could get hold of the midfield as a team, like Czech Republic as a team, they should play and hold the midfield well against their opponents. So that's it for me. And like, what will be the predictions for you all?
For me, it will be 2-0 to the Netherlands.
Yeah, Ridhiman, go next.
Netherlands 3, Czech Republic 1.
Although Czech Republic has shown glimpses of very promising football, but I guess the Netherlands midfield and forward line would be too much for them to handle. So I'd go with the Netherlands 2, Czech Republic 0.
I predict that the Orange will win 2-0. Goals from Weghorst and maybe Depay.
Nice. Same for me. It will be 2-0 for the Netherlands, while Stekelenburg keeping a clean sheet. That's it. So we'll be moving on to the next match of the match day 2, the second match of the match day 2. It will be Belgium versus Portugal. So I'll ask Ridhiman to start.
So the Belgium team, the most high-profile fixture probably for the round of 16 between Belgium and Portugal, the number one team in the FIFA rankings versus the defending champions of Euro 16. Belgium would probably line up with Courtois with a 3-4-3 formation and their main concern would be their defense against the Portuguese attack, because Alderweireld has not shown a great form, and also Denayer has its own share of flaws that he occurs almost every game. Vertonghen is their main defender, while Tielemans could make a comeback into this match, and expecting De Bruyne and Eden Hazard both to start, while Thorgan Hazard at a wingback position would be one of the most crucial players, along with the ever dangerous Romelu Lukaku, who always pops in a goal or two. So that would be about the Belgium team.
Moving on to the Portugal third place team in the group stage. Not many of us expected Portugal to finish third, being the defending champion and so on. But the ride has been quite topsy-turvy for the Portuguese side till now. Although they won the first game against Hungary 3-0, they did not show a lot of promise. In the second game, they were thrashed by Germany, sadly, 4-2. In the third game, they showed some promise against a very dangerous France side. But all in all, there are some worries for Fernando Santos, but there are definitely some positives for him also as well. I believe Portugal will ditch the defensive double pivot that they used to employ, William Carvalho and Danilo Pereira, and go in favor of starting both Renato Sanchez and João Moutinho, who both of them impressed in the previous match. Danilo Pereira may start as the one in the 4-4-1 formation with Cristiano Ronaldo up front, who has been among the goals yet again. This man just doesn't seem to stop even with this age. Talking of the wingers, Diogo Jota and Bernardo Silva have both impressed, particularly from the second match onwards. There are some worries, especially in the right back position. Joao Cancelo was ruled out from the tournament, sadly. There has been worries in that position. Nelson Semedo, I don't know how much he can cover, especially against the dangerous Eden Hazard on the left-hand side of the Belgian attack. Also, the defense of Ruben Dias and Pepe looks a little bit shaky. Pepe, although doing good, he's 38 years of age, he doesn't have that much space anymore, and Ruben Dias has failed to recreate his Manchester City form in this tournament. So it will be tough against the attacking force prowess of the likes of Romelu Lukaku and Kevin De Bruyne for the Portuguese side. But I believe Cristiano Ronaldo, the matches, he'll pull out something magical yet again. I'd also like to mention Renato Sanchez. In the previous match against France, it was expected that France midfield would dominate, particularly due to the likes of N'Golo Kante and Paul Pogba being present there. But Renato Sanchez really shone through and dominated much of the midfield for much of the match, which was very encouraging signs. So Portugal side does not have any particular injuries, concerns, or something like that. Danilo Pereira came off at halftime in the previous match, but he is fit to start. Also, Nelson Semedo is fit to start for the next match, and Fernando Santos will get his most formidable players in hand against Belgium, and which he will need, because this is a very stern test for Portugal.
Yeah, I think Belgium would dominate most of the ball. But on the other hand, they have a very aging defense which lacks pace. So if somehow Portugal can reduce the defensive duties of Bernardo Silva and Diogo Jota, they can exploit their pace to hit Belgium on the counter.
Yeah, so this is like the second time I believe that Portugal is facing the back three defense after Germany. So will be quite interesting to match the duel between Nelson Semedo as the right back of Portugal, and then Eden Hazard, Thorgan Hazard, KDB, all preferring to act through the left flank. So Semedo played good in the last match, but I don't know how will he play in this match. Yeah, so I believe Fernando Santos has really taken his lesson after the Germany thrashing. So will deploy João Moutinho, then Danilo Pereira, which is very, very sad for a caliber of a player like him to fall out of choice with the first team. So yeah, that's it.
For me, Rafael Guerreiro is someone like who could make an impact in this match, because like he is too much underrated for the team like he plays for. But like the duel between him and Thomas Meunier is to be looked out for, and also the duel between KDB and the whole Portugal CDMs, like both the Portugal CDMs, whosoever plays, like Danilo Pereira, William Carvalho, or João Moutinho, and also like Ronaldo with his pace, as mentioned by other fellow mates, like Ronaldo with his pace could cause much trouble in the Belgium defense and could draw more defenders towards him, and which can cause more spaces to other players, creating more chances. And I think players like Renato Sanchez could make something out of that.
One player to look out for from the Portuguese camp would be Rafa Silva, who changed the complexion of the game coming on as a substitute in the Hungary game. So his addition could be a major factor, and also the battle between Lukaku and Ruben Dias, major factor I believe in the match.
Yeah, I would like to reiterate what Anik said right now. I believe that is a very that will be a very key battle in this game. The battle between Thomas Meunier and Rafael Guerreiro. I believe it's very difficult that battle would look like, and if Rafael Guerreiro can take control of that wing and keep Meunier busy, it will impact Belgium's chances of creating down that right hand side and open up avenues for Portugal for creating down that left hand side where they can use the Diogo Jota.
Also, it will be very interesting to see whether Axel Witsel starts the game, because he started the game last match and he also started the game as a sub. He came as a sub against Denmark, and second half Belgium was very, very different as compared to what was in the first half against Denmark, especially when KDB came on. Thorgan Hazard, Eden Hazard has a very good link up, which he lacked with Yannick Carrasco, I believe. And so yeah, like the previous people said, like Rafael Guerreiro versus Meunier, the battle will be very, very tough, because on the right flank of Belgium, there will be a lot of spaces created, because most of the play will be from the left flank with Hazard, KDB, Thorgan Hazard, all of them playing through that wing.
Also, if Dries Mertens start him against Pepe, going in against Pepe, that is the main thing. If Dries Mertens starts, like I don't know if he will start or not. The chances of him starting are much, but it's up to the coach.
And also Boyata may start in place of Denayer, I believe, for Belgium, because he is of a much taller height and he will be up front against Cristiano Ronaldo, right? So you need someone like that.
So now, what are the players to watch out for? Let's start with Ridhiman.
So the players to watch out for, I believe, would be Hazard for Belgium, who played a full 90 after almost 2 years. in the last match against Finland, and in the Portuguese.
Renato Sanchez to that list. If he can reproduce the kind of form he showed against France, it will be difficult for the Belgium midfield to keep him under control and create chances of their own. Okay, coming to the predictions for this high voltage match. Although Belgium have faced some problems against Denmark, I don't think Portugal pose the same kind of problems because Portugal don't really like to press. So I guess the keeping the Belgium midfield away from the ball will be a tough task for the Portuguese, and hence I predict Belgium 2, Portugal 1.
So this could, my prediction would be, this could well be a recap of the 2016 Euro Finals, where Portugal would not have much of that ball and they would depend on counter-attacks to score. And the match could well go into extra time with Portugal winning it on penalties.
For me, it will be Belgium 2, Portugal 1, as Shubhan mentioned, that Portugal will play well if somehow Portugal get a score by, that would be mainly by the efforts of Cristiano Ronaldo. But I think Belgium to dominate the game, most of the game. That's it.
For me, it would be 2-1 to Portugal with Cristiano Ronaldo scoring a penalty.
Quite a difficult match to predict, but yeah, for me, Portugal winning it 2-1.
Very difficult match to predict, but what is not that difficult to predict is Cristiano Ronaldo scoring a penalty. Like that seems to happen every game. I would like to add, coming to Cristiano Ronaldo, I would like to add, although this is a very high voltage clash, this is also a very potential historic clash, because in this match we might get to see also Cristiano Ronaldo become the highest ever goal scorer in international football, which would be yet another incredible milestone in the already incredible career of this great man. So looking forward to both these games for tonight.
Hope you liked the discussion on Master 2 of Euro Cup 2020. Hope you liked it.
If you do like, then hit the like button and do subscribe to our channel.
And lastly, if you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comment section.
So we'll see you soon with the next video.